Hi, Poppy Yeager here with This Day in History. April 17th, 1961, the Bay of Pigs invasion began. The Bay of Pigs invasion was Cuban exiles who had been trained and armed by the CIA were staging an attack on Cuba. This came about because America didn't like Castro. They didn't appreciate his anti-American rhetoric, the attack on businesses, and the fact that Cuba was moving closer to ties with the Soviet Union. So it was President Eisenhower that instructed the CIA to train Cuban exiles. JFK inherited this program. And even though JFK was told by his advisors, don't do it, you can't win, he still went ahead and did it anyway. The exiles landed at the Bay of Pigs, but immediately Castro's counterattacks were able to repel them. Also, Castro's Air Force, it was small, but it sank most of the supply ships, which just led to failure. The Cuban exiles were killed or captured. They had hoped that once they got there, that the Cubans in the country were going to rise up and rebel against Castro and support them. That never happened. Ultimately, in the end, this just enhanced Castro's stance in Cuba. People liked him more. And even in Latin America, people liked him because he stood up against America. He stood up against imperialism. Also, a result of the Bay of Pigs catastrophe was that it did bring Cuba and the Soviet Union closer. The Soviet Union started to supply missiles and help with missile bases, which ultimately led to the Cuban Missile Crisis. Anyway, that's This Day in History, April 17th, 1961, the Bay of Pigs invasion began.